Welcome, everybody, to the Journeymen podcast.
You better be praying to God because, you're 14 and losses in a row. You're going to need Jesus.
Am I wrong?
I thought you were pretty wrong, yeah.
All right, welcome, Journeymen. Cocktail hour number 2. What we're going to be putting together today is called Leap Year. We're in a leap year. February 29th is right around the corner. For this one, we need gin. We need sweet vermouth. And I'm not rich, Grand Marnier, but cognac will work. And then a little bit of lemon juice. So I already put some ice in my mixer here. It's 1.5 ounce this, half ounce, half ounce. So let's get it started. There we go. Not a big gin fan, but I don't know, maybe comment. Tell me what your favorite brand of gin is for those gin drinkers. Oh, I guess I'm making a double. This is going to be fun. Kind of went a little heavy there. That's all good. All right, next. Sweet vermouth. So half is basically now 1. So I just got to ease this in. That'll be good. Cognac. There we go. And squeeze a little bit of lemon juice in there. Keep it coming. There we go. Cool. Let's cap it. Give it a good shake. Alright, leap year. I've never had this, so this is going to be a first time experience for me. And for our cameraman, Woj. There we go. I really hope this ends up being a win. Other than that, we'll see. Alright. Here you go, my friend. Leap year. Let's go. Different taste.
Tastes pretty good.
Not horrible. It's not your Friday night, though.
You can
Call it a Thursday.
How does it taste?
The cognac really plays in, but the gin kind of slams it as the, kind of an aftertaste of the gin, but not a bad mix. You know what? Not a bad mix. All right, round 2. Woj is going to bring his drink up.
What's up, everybody? Sir Wojenstein here. We're doing what I like to call the Woj, which is a whiskey technically and pop. I'm going to limit it, or just be generalized about it. It is a favorite of mine. I would say probably a go-to. I choose Pepsi because it's sugarier than Coke, I guess. I don't know. I like the taste. But I will also say, and I don't do measurements here. We're just going to pour it in. I'm going to do a little quick.
Eyeball it.
It's going to be a heavy pour on the first one, but you do it how you like to. And no, but I will say that the Woj drink is really like whiskey and pop of general. I've done, cherry Pepsi, Dr. Pepper. Root beer is a tough one. I would stay away from root beer, but really, you mix any Coke in it, it's pretty delicious. Okay, we're just going to do a little bit of this, and it's a classic technique here of mixing it while you're pouring. I don't teach you that in mixology school.
Write that down. Write that down.
And cheers, gents. Delicious. So, that's the Woj drink. Again, my go-to. Pick it up at any local Target, Jewel, etc. And we will toss it over to Ryan for his cocktail of the evening. Stay tuned.
Hello, Journeyman. Welcome to the Cocktail Hour featuring me, Ryan. How's it going? Today we're making my specialty. It's very fancy. I only serve it at the most upscale of establishments. What I like to reach for when I'm having a bad day It's a nice, ice cold beer. Although usually not this pussy Miller Lite shit. I like something better, like a Blue Moon maybe. But you know what? This will hit this spot whenever you're having that rough day or good day, any day. Nice, tasty, frosty beer. Grab a cold one. It's delicious.
Welcome, our loyal fans. You have gone through the transition phase, and we are now into the Journeymen podcast. We started off as the Fantasy Football Journeyman, myself, Woj. Yeah, we're on a podcast.
Right.
There you go.
Pick it up, Ryan. There.
And
You got Bobby here on the end.
yeah, so we have kind of started this official rebranding back to the Journeyman, which kind of more all-encompasses everything that you kind of have out here: sports, life, love,
Journeys.
all that
Yeah,
shit.
all your different journeys.
Let's just say all
like
that
that.
shit. But yeah, so, we kind of ended with the football season. We're going to definitely pick up football here and there, but kind of wait until more closer to fantasy time, and then we really get back into the gear of it.
Maybe when the draft happens, we can talk about the
Probably
draft.
do an episode or two on the draft, but I would also, for the real fans out there that want to know, we have the Buffalo Dip is no longer. It's only a football thing. I'm
Yep, no, you got to retire it.
Yep.
I get it.
not purchasing it anymore from Jewel. It's from Jewel, not from Roberto over there.
So you can purchase it from somewhere else? Is that what you're saying?
No Buffalo Dip for me. But you guys are more than happy to get that Buffalo Dip if you want. But without further ado, let's really get into the shit here. So we are watching the Bulls game. Let's give a little quick recap. It's just after the All-Star break. Ryan, give me kind of gut punch. What do the Bulls need to do here?
Well, they didn't do any moves. So
No, but what do they need to do in the second half here? The next 20 games, 30 games.
Outside of
Specifically,
winning
I don't know.
shoot for a playoff
score
spot.
more points, shoot
Yeah,
more
aside
three.
from the obvious though.
Shot.
Are you
I
saying like, hey, it's no hope? I mean, they're still in the race, kind of.
don't think at the
halfway
end. I don't think at
through.
the end of the day it'll really matter. I think they'll make the playoffs, and then
Okay.
they'll probably lose the first round. I think they got Kobe White's good. He's coming along. Levine's hurt, so he's out.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what you want to do is you want to see how real Kobe White is, which it seems legit. You want to see how the team plays without Zach LaVine
Mm-hmm.
to maybe evaluate what you should do with him this offseason, if you can do anything with him, because he's hurt. Should have already traded him, like I said, but
Multiple times, but what are you going to do on that? Because now the trade deadline's passed.
I guess you got to decide to see how this team plays and then decide what you're going to do in the coming offseason. Because again, I don't think they're going to go to the finals or anything. I mean, I'd be surprised if they won a round, but
Okay.
I assume they'll probably make the playoffs as like a 7 to 10 seed.
Okay. So you're pretty much thinking that they're going to make the playoffs, but not doing
They
it.
do the same thing every year. We talked about it last time. It was like the circle of suck. They're good enough to get to the playoffs, but they're not good enough to do anything. They're not bad enough to tank or get a high enough pick. They're kind of stuck unless they acquire more pieces or sign somebody or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's still room to be well in the league and do, some good stuff here. I think you revolve around Kobe White as the main scorer, let him get his mojo going. And
I mean, I definitely think too. Sorry, you got to see what's up with Vooch. You're paying him a lot of money, and now that Zach LaVine's out, he should be stepping up and doing more. Ideally,
no, there's got to be, there's going to be changes at the end of the season. But with this team, I'm kind of echoing your sentiments of like, yes, somewhere in the playoffs, maybe or whatever. I also think you catch fire. A couple other teams.
I mean, I would love to see it. I love the Bulls. Yeah. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Right. I'm more on the optimistic side that maybe they'll get a couple wins here and there. Maybe sneak into like a 5.
I mean, we
have a good matchup first round.
We don't have D Rose is not here. Jimmy Butler's not. I mean, we have DeRozan. He's good, and and Kobe White's coming along. But again, I don't know how special.
We'll see. I mean, again, half a season left. Bobby, any thoughts on the Bulls here?
Like I said, I think they have certain elements on their team that are capable of creating some noise. Now, One thing that I could see them performing better on, I think, and this isn't something related to skill, is tempo and defense. Creating more of an effort of stretching it, moving it down court quick. If you pick up the tempo and dictate, at the speed of it, I think you give yourself more opportunities, especially because I don't see them really working the paint all that much compared to other teams.
Vucevic is a giant pussy, and I hope you're watching this.
No, exactly. But if they could, like I said, that's more of an effort base. If we could create a little more cohesiveness by, hey, going out there, being the faster team, being a little bit more tenacious, you have more opportunities.
I definitely agree with you. I think we got the team in the backcourt to definitely do that for sure. Caruso gets a couple steals a game. Ayo Dosunmu is very good at picking pockets and stuff like that. That again, I think that if they can do that, they're going to be blowing teams out.
It's an effort-based thing too. Yeah, if they really want, if they're hungry enough.
All right, Ryan. Any final thoughts on the Bulls?
I also think you got to see what's up with Patrick Williams.
Big question.
I'm not a fan. I haven't really been. So he's been, I think it's his third or fourth year. He was like the number 4 pick or something.
I believe it's his third year.
Okay. I don't know. To me, he's supposed to have all this potential and all this stuff they've talked about. I haven't seen anything come to fruition. I don't know, like, what does he do, like, well? Like one, I don't know. He seems like okay at stuff, but nothing really stands out to me. And
I got you. Yeah, it's going to be a question mark and see what happens. First of all, he's got to play. He's literally on the bench because of an injury, so we'll see. I mean, again, we're big Bulls fans here, so I like to definitely take it down to the end of the season. We'll do some episodes and stuff like that. Hopefully, they make it interesting and stuff like that, and then we kick into baseball and do that stuff. So, but before we switch it over from basketball in general, the All-Star game, Ryan, you had a couple of colorful thoughts on that. Boo.
Okay, it's horrible. It gets worse and worse every year. Like, we were growing up in the 90s and even as some of the 2000s. Granted, some of the game was like alley-ooping and shit, but there was more defense. There was effort. People trying, not just like literally allowing you to walk through the lane right by you like you were a turnstile, or to let them chuck half-court threes. It was just like, who wants to watch this shit? It's horrible.
Well, I mean, I flipped it on, I believe, for one possession because there's literally nothing else on this weekend. I don't know why.
I understand you don't want to get hurt. I get that. However, you can play a little bit harder. You can at least try and get in front of him, put a hand in his face. Like,
I'm gonna put generation of NBA is soft.
You don't have to like be like, blocking the shit out of people and slapping, fucking going for the ball, but you can still play defense. Like, I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. I mean, don't you think that this is the players saying "fuck you"? I don't want to participate in this, but you require me to because of the
Marshawn Lynch syndrome.
I think we should
I'm here so I don't get sued or
I won't get fined.
I won't get fined.
Yeah, I think like we talked about with the Pro Bowl. Basically, we should just have name all-stars. That's fine, and don't do anything. Don't play the game. It's a waste of time. It's like if you're not gonna try, like if you're not gonna have any effort, there's no point.
What? For what it's worth, Kobe tried.
Something when
God rest his soul.
Yeah,
but Kobe,
when
he went out there, he wanted to make you look silly.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, it all changed in the last 6 years.
Yeah,
last 6 years, the level of intensity went down. And again, we're all on the same side of just like, hey, we can do without that.
Like it used to be some of the game, they would, not play as much defense. But then, like, when the fourth quarter came around, it's like they're tightening it up. They're trying. They, like, have some pride, actually. Like, and then I don't know if we're going to segue in this, but same thing with the dunk contest.
I was going to move to that next.
Go ahead. Sorry, man.
No, give me
okay.
I love to sit back and just watch this motherfucker shit.
The dunk contest was horrible. Okay, the judges, I was watching it at work.
I was as well.
Nobody got below a 47. How is that possible? 47 out of 50. The dunks were shit.
Shite.
Most of them. Shit. Okay, and even the good ones, like Mac McClung, he was good, but he did the same type of dunk every time. Have a guy hold it above his head. I'm going to catch it off and go through him and dunk it in some fashion. A couple times is fine. He did it like 4 times.
See, what I know about the dunk contest is that these guys go and they have a practice session where they are doing the same dunks. And normally, if I'm ever in the dunk contest, fingers crossed, I might get there.
Hey, you know what? You surprised us with your kicking abilities. It didn't go through the uprights.
We used to have dunk contests in your backyard. We could do that.
Let's see.
Kind of
We'll
what, an
tease
8-foot
that as
rim,
well.
maybe?
Yes, it was. Maybe,
It was 8.5.
Maybe 8.5. But they do a practice session. In my mind, you would normally do different dunks. If
Right.
something got done
Exact-
similarly,
well,
you'd be like, all right, well, let me do this one instead.
Here's my thing. If I'm going in the dunk contest, I'm going to have like 5 or 6 dunks, and they're going to be a variety of dunks. One dunk, I'm going to like bounce it off the floor, off the backboard, and like dunk it. One, I'm going to throw off the side of the backboard and do some shit, or off the back of the backboard. One, I'm going to do from like, the free throw line. One, I'm going to jump. I'm going to get someone to toss it, or I'm going to jump over. I'm like,
I love it. It sounds like NBA
you should have
Street,
like different things in mind, like in case someone does them too. Like, oh shit, he just did that one. I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna do this. Like
NBA Live 2005.
Right.
Great as dunk. I mean, that's where you would spend time and you would actually go through dunks of like, oh, you would do this. And you know what? The other part that I would say is like, it's a good element to have is the nostalgic of doing another player's famous dunk or whatever.
Yeah.
But even the way that they did it is like cheesy now, and it's just like, put the jersey on, do a dunk, and then salute the guy.
I was astounded at how horrible the judges were. I have never seen worse judgment of dunks in my life. Like
Everyone's getting a 9 and a 10.
the ones that they
You're
were
right.
doing, like some of them would be like 37, 38, maybe a 40. They're like, oh, that's 47 and a half. That's 46. That's a 48. Like, what? That's supposed to be for like the elite, the good of the good, the best of the best. Like
We struck a nerve with this.
Well,
one,
it's
I guess.
ridiculous.
Well, it is definitely ridiculous.
If you grew up like me and Woj and maybe you, Bobby, I don't know,
I was watching
dunk contests every year. There are obviously better ones than some
Well, they
than
pushed
others.
the envelope and
but
they created their own,
it used to be
taste.
better most of the time, or like there will at least be like every couple of years a
Right.
good one or something.
I'll fix your shit real quick, dude. There you go. But no, you're absolutely right. This thing could go all the way, and I don't think anybody would bat an eye here. I'm gonna go real quick. Shot out of a cannon. Thoughts on the Hawks right now? I'm a believer, but realistically, I haven't seen much.
Always next year.
Yeah, fair point.
I haven't really watched hockey, but from what I know, this
They're
is
about
this is a
15 or 11.
this is a
and
rebuilding year.
33.
So
Right, that's what I'm saying.
all you want to see is Bedard do work and then get better pieces to put around him next season.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That's it.
I definitely agree that.
It's good to see him back too after being injured with that jaw thing.
Yeah, it's
fractured
good to
jaw.
see him back. Yep.
Right, definitely.
I feel like we were just talking about on the pod like the other day that he was hurt.
He got injured.
That
Yeah.
was like
that was a few weeks
6
back,
weeks
man.
ago
Yeah.
or some shit.
It just goes to show you. I think hockey players are one of the toughest SOBs out there.
Oh fuck yeah!
Definitely so. I would also just say that the Hawks, I think this is what's going to happen in this podcast, if I'm a future teller, and I like to think that I am, is that you will have ebbs and flows of like you'll have a team come to prominence and then kind of fade away. Like, we don't really have a team in prominence right now, but like it'll just happen of like, hey, the Sox are good this year. We're going to follow more about the Sox. The Hawks right now, they just unfortunately fall low. And it's like, hey, okay, they're still
I saw
shitty.
a meme on Facebook. It was so disheartening. It was like,
Oh, here we go.
it was like Bulls logo, Blackhawks, Sox, and the Bears, I think, or something. Maybe the Cubs are in there, and they're like, at least you're not a Chicago sports fan right now, because that's the worst city to be a sports fan right
Yeah,
now.
it's rough tits out
It's like,
there.
oh no, I am a Chicago sports fan.
I think Ohio's hurting worse than us.
Ohio had a decent year, man, but also Ohio has a lot of teams, man.
I mean, outside of Ohio State.
I mean, this is.
Do you really have pride in the Reds?
This is odd though for us because usually I feel like in Chicago we usually have at least one
or the
team,
Blue Jackets?
one team who's doing something. Like,
Out of the big six, I would say, or what do we have? 5: football, basketball, hockey,
Baseball.
two baseball.
Five.
5 out of 5. We usually got one.
yeah, like one of
doing
them's usually
well.
like doing something
Yeah.
and playoff bound or in the hunt. Or, I mean, I guess technically the Bulls kind of are, but
Okay, so enough about the garbage teams. We'll try and
Garbage.
uplift the vibe by talking about our movie review here.
Yeah,
So we're
here we
doing Reservoir Dogs. It was my pick. We will have, I just thought of an idea the other day, is we'll probably have a whole listing of who picked who at the, we'll maybe
A
do
few
like
more
five,
weeks, yeah.
five,
Yeah, we'll get
five
some
movies in,
selections,
and then
yeah.
somebody, we'll put together on the screen of like, hey, this is
What panelists do you would you
Yeah.
vibe with most? I get
yeah,
that.
we could see some stuff like that. But Reservoir Dogs. So this is 92. Quentin Tarantino directed.
Loved
It's
it.
got Buscemi, Keitel, Roth, Chris Penn, Lawrence Tierney, Michael Madsen. That's really the big 6, right? 7?
You said Buscemi, yeah.
I said Buscemi, yep.
Tarantino also in it.
I did.
Tarantino, yeah.
I didn't mention that, but
Yeah.
we got this nice little box.
Oh, yeah,
I
you
mean,
want to?
the
Yeah,
Rye
talk
guy.
about it.
Maybe do a
Yeah,
little
I got
bit.
this special 15th anniversary Reservoir Dogs DVD set. I got it for honestly $3 at Half Price Books, like
I love half price.
3-4 years ago. It's phenomenal. Let me show you. So it's like the gas tank, and the thing
Yeah, show this.
comes off like the gas thing or whatever. It's like, and it's like the actual like tin, like a gas.
It's like a
whatever.
jerry can.
And then
that
in
he
it
uses. Yeah.
matches, and it takes it
Oh,
has
that's
the
cool.
DVDs, and it's got matches.
Looks
on
like
them.
a book of matches. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's back when
It's pretty sick. And
They used to make a real effort about the physical material of like, hey, this is again like a collector's piece
branding
or
thing,
something
too,
like
yeah.
that.
here it's like the tin.
It's
shit.
yeah,
It's cool.
tin, aluminum.
It's pretty cool, I thought.
But yeah, very very cool, very frugal of you to get it for $3. So, Ryan, you kind of mentioned at the end of the last episode as I put out Reservoir Dogs, we're not doing a Tarantino necessarily like a whole theme of it
Well, I was ready if we were. You know.
into every single, because again, he's got a very select few movies, and I would say that we're gonna kick it around, but like maybe we'll have like one do a movie every couple weeks or whatever, and we do them over the stretch of like a couple months. But we'll kick it around.
Whatever you want, man.
We'll start with the Reservoir Dogs. So,
Reservoir
I think
Dogs.
we started by doing kind of like a brief synopsis of it. I'll just kind of shed some light on it. You got basically 5 diamond heist robbers going into, I don't remember what they said it was, an exchange, diamond exchange.
Diamond exchange.
It's just like a jewelry place.
Yeah, jeweler though.
So they go into a jewelry place, and this whole movie takes part over, I would say, probably, how much time would you say?
Well, it's
like-
before the heist and after the heist.
I'd
But
say
I'm
about,
saying-
what 9 days though.
But I'm saying the majority of it, I would say, is probably
Oh.
within a
12
two,
hours.
2-3. I would say 12 hours.
Yeah, within
yeah,
half a day.
I mean, there's some side story
So
character
to
things,
build in the background.
but we don't
and
know
stuff
when
like
those are. So
that.
yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it mainly takes place over like 12 hours. Again, it's a really great movie for dialogue. That's what you really want to kind of take away from it. So I'm gonna just kind of get right into it with that first kind of part of it. Normally, that's a big burp. Normally, the movies that we have seen have had a very musical element of them, of like iconic songs and doing this.
Yeah, you know what?
This
That
had
tracks.
3 in my mind. So they had
Sure.
the Steelers Wheel.
Got
You had Hooked on a Feeling, and then you had Lime in the Coconut. Was those?
The lime and the coconut, I think, is the
I
most iconic
wasn't even
one.
thinking of those. I was thinking Lil Green Bag, the opening.
Little Green Bag, yes.
And what was the other? I don't know what it's called. The one. It's like that funky one. It's like, bum, but the bum, I don't know what it's called. But I fucking loved it. I have to look it up.
Okay. No,
It's when-
I
it's
just
when they're
I,
driving the car.
I was thinking more of like the majority. I mean, those are again songs that you listen to, but
I
you
think
listen to
Green
a lot.
Bag is. I think that's pretty.
No, the intro song.
It's
is
the
good,
intro
but
song.
Lime and the coconut is, I think, iconic to this movie.
I would definitely think you would think of Steelers Wheel when you
Steelers Wheel
think of
for
Reservoir
sure
Dogs.
with Michael Madsen scene, but we'll
Yeah.
get to the scenes in a second. I'm just saying,
Oh,
in
yeah.
in comparison to the movies that we have selected, I think the dialogue in this one probably is some of the strongest.
I would
Oh
agree.
yeah.
You know, because again, you just have these like gripping
Well,
scenes and stuff like that.
When you get a Tarantino movie, you're getting dialogue. Like that's what he's known for.
Very
He's-
true. So let's just kind of go into your guys' experience with like Tarantino. Are you guys like a really big fan? Just like he's good. I enjoy his movies.
Me or him first?
You can whoever wants to
it out.
start.
Okay, for me, I am a big fan now. I became more of a fan. Like, when I first saw his movies, I didn't like them or appreciate them as much. Like, I remember the first time I saw this, for example, I was like, oh, like, why didn't they show the heist? What the fuck? Like, I was kind of pissed off about it. Like,
Oh, wow.
like,
okay,
I was
right.
like, I wanted to see the heist. Like, I mean, their shit was cool, but I'm like, that's it. This is what everybody makes a big hubbub of or whatever. And then I think I saw Inglourious Basterds when it came out, and I was like 20 or something, and I was like, oh, that was okay. But then, like, I don't know, I got more into film and more appreciative and different, just appreciated more the way people dialogue is and the way shots are done. and I've rewatched this many times since. I love it. The dialogue is fantastic. The way everything is set up, the characters. Love Tarantino. Love it. The way his style. Love like he just has like casual conversations like we would have in a movie, just about bullshit. Those are my favorite kind of shit. It kind of reminds me of like a Seinfeld or Curb, like in a movie.
Okay.
Like which are among my favorites. So I really enjoy his. And always bloody and always fucking just great storyteller too. Awesome.
Okay.
There's always that, like I said, there's always that dynamic component to it where there is going to be some sort of angle. Not so much like a turning point or some plot twist, but he always has that kind of that bloody angle, that, just action-packed type of, thriller, in all of his movies. The only one that I really didn't, this is in his earlier pieces with Dusk Till Dawn. Remember that with...
Well, that's a Robert Rodriguez movie, actually.
Is it? I thought Tarantino was in it.
He
he's in it, but
co-produced.
He might have co-wrote it or produced it.
Okay, that was the only one that I really didn't follow the same scheme or feel.
Technically, I don't think he would be counted under his...
So then, I withdraw it. But I really loved Reservoir Dogs. I understand kind of the idea of like why didn't they do the bank robbery scene? But but now that you've seen his films and it came right around Pulp Fiction, there's no linear progression, and sometimes he bounces around, but it creates, I think, a deeper plot, a deeper, feel to a movie. So, like I said, I kind of understand the exclusion of that scene, but I loved every bit of it from start to finish.
Also, I just want to say that, like, I appreciate it now. Like, every time I see it, not having the heist, I think it would be cool to see it because I know he would do it bloody and do it well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but
especially with Mr. Blonde.
I think that if not having it adds to the movie, adds to kind of like the mystery of like, oh, who is it? Like the paranoia.
They had a lot of dialogue in this movie compared to his.
It's good not having it, but it would be cool to see it though, like a deleted scene maybe.
That'd be cool, yeah, a special feature or something.
Right. So you're saying though that the one, you had a gradual love for Tarantino. I will say that whenever I really started seeing this, because I mean, in Laura and Papa Greg's household, there wasn't Tarantino being put on the screen because, as you said, it was very bloody. So I didn't get introduced to him later. And when I did, I was like, yo, this shit is...
I think all of his movies are rated R.
But it is a thing of, like, once I saw it, I was hooked on Tarantino. Like, he's a great...
Agreed.
It has, even just anything that he's involved in the movie, I definitely appreciate. I do want to ask a question, though, about how do you guys feel about his acting in his own movies? In some of them, I'll just start. In some of them, I really, really appreciate his role when he's a more minor character, like very quick scenes or like, hey, just a quick thing here or there. Very, appreciative of this. I know, again, we just said Dusk to Dawn is not his movie technically, but him as that main second character in that, I wasn't the biggest
I think
fan.
you're right. I think less is more when you, in terms of his acting or on-screen time. Because in Pulp Fiction, his character there, as well as in this one, he early on, obviously the early scene for Reservoir Dogs, I think that is probably the best scene or one of my most iconic scenes of the movie. But to your point, though, it's for in the entirety of the movie, it's a blip. He's in there for a very short period, but I think it adds, it's like you love chocolate, but you don't want to have chocolate the whole fucking movie.
Right. So again, in this example of Reservoir Dogs, I am a really big fan of his involvement because he is just for a scene, but it's memorable, and you're like, Mr. Brown, it sounds like Mr. Shit.
Yeah.
But So like I said, I just wanted to kind of pick you guys' brain on that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. Did you?
We totally just
Did I just skip you?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
I was gonna say, okay. Yeah, no, I think that he's like you said, he's good limited. I think Quentin Tarantino obviously intentionally put himself in the beginning of the movie and to like make a statement like, hey, this is my movie, I wrote this is how it's gonna be. Like I think it works when he's like you said, when it's like a brief little part and he knows how to say his dialogue obviously because he came up with it. So I think it works well.
Okay.
As long as it's not, like you said, too big of a part.
It reflects his character. I don't think that he's really acting in most of his.
Yeah, obviously he's not like a great actor, but he's reading his own stuff, and it's for and
it's genuine.
One scene. I think it's good.
Laundry's done. That could be a segment in this. Laundry's done or a thing. Sorry about that, Ryan. I honestly thought I started.
No, it's good.
I want to keep the same order, so it's a little bit easier here. So as we kind of move into the cast of it, because I am going to break this down kind of in sections here. So I want to talk about the cast. So just in general, phenomenal cast. All these guys went on or were already doing very memorable pieces at this point.
Well, isn't this Steve Buscemi's like one of his first movies?
That's why I said there are guys like Lawrence Tierney who have already been acting, as well as Edward Bunker and some of these other guys. Harvey Keitel wasn't extremely popular.
Harvey was in a lot
but
of
he
movies,
was in
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, he was established.
I was trying to give the overall general of like, hey,
yeah.
there were guys that were just starting up, but there were also veteran actors.
For sure.
This. So I definitely appreciate the cast as a whole. I will just kind of mention, like, no female characters is...
Not one word is spoken by a female character in this
right.
entire movie.
So it is interesting.
What
in
about
that,
the waitress? But does she say at least one word or no?
No one
None?
says.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, because they're just talking about tipping the waitress. They're not actually...
And then
Oh,
waitress
you're
is
right.
never
You're right,
in
Gar.
it.
Sorry, continue.
The one lady who shoots him doesn't say anything either.
Right.
No, she kind of just screams. Yep. Okay.
So, yeah. So, I mean, again, that's just a weird kind of thing that I just mentioned. I'm like, it doesn't really take away or anything like that, but you would have thought that there would just been some interjection, maybe the lady in the car that eventually shoots Mr. Orange. Spoiler alert, fucking 30
This
years
movie,
later.
this movie is about 30
It's
years
from
old.
92, so.
If you haven't seen the movie and you're watching the review, you fucked up.
You don't he's fucked up, Paul.
No, but I'm glad that he wasn't like, oh, I got to be super inclusive. No, make your own movie the way you see fit. It's art, right? It's art.
Well, again, it's just an interesting choice to have all of these phenomenal characters, and then I'm just saying in general, Tarantino does have great female leads in his movies as well.
I mean, Jackie Brown. There you
Jackie
go.
Brown,
Kill
Pulp
Bill.
Fiction.
Kill Bill, yeah.
I mean, these are great. Female characters, but again, not really a negative or a positive. There, I'm just like
It's a different feeling.
Some movies need it and some don't. It's,
Right.
So I'll ask you guys, who is kind of your standout in the movie, and then also have an answer for who you thought could have used more screen time or wanted to know more
You
about.
go first, though. You stand out in more screen time.
Standout. I would say the standout would either be. I think for me it's Buscemi. I think Keitel's a close second. But I mean, Keitel like carries the movie, obviously. But every time Buscemi's on the screen, I think he's the best. He's my favorite. He feels like a real person, and just like he's really funny. Every time he's on, and he's also the smartest one in the group, the only one who has his head on his shoulders, thinking like he literally called out word for word what happened with Mr. White, giving him all his information and where he's from. Like, oh yeah, he's from Milwaukee. Oh,
And just again, spoiler alert: Mr. Orange is the rat.
okay, yeah,
Right.
So yeah, Mr. Pink, Steve Buscemi's my favorite. He has the funniest parts. I think he's the best.
Okay, and then you want to go.
Who
Let's all
deserves
go.
more
Let's go. Let's
All
go
right,
all
okay.
best.
So mine, it's a combination, and this is probably an unpopular opinion. Mr. Blonde, I think he really owned his
He's
role.
fucking awesome.
Madsen, and then
He's fucking
Honorable mention.
Penn.
Chris
Chris
Penn.
Penn.
Chris Penn, I really felt that his involvement in this film really took it to the next level and really,
He's great.
really added an element to it that some of the other actors weren't providing. So I really enjoyed his involvement in Reservoir Dogs.
He really goes for it.
It's really upsetting that he's no longer with us because I think he is a stellar actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I was gonna say Chris Penn as well. Definitely for the fact that he is coming in. If you know like other movies by Chris Penn, he does have some other comic relief type roles like Rush Hour. I'm thinking of. I know he has done other serious movies and stuff like that, but in this role,
Footloose.
I do like that he is kind of like he's the guy's son. It's
Right.
kind of like not really taken seriously, but also has a little bit of power. So like guys do kind of have to listen to him. So I would say Chris Penn is just kind of like a standout of like, oh shit, like that was awesome. I would also, throw out Harvey Keitel as kind of the guy of the movie. They focus on
Mr.
him
White.
the most time, Mr. White, and then, you kind of do see a couple different sides of Harvey Keitel as well because he's like trying to keep Mr. Orange alive, take the
Right.
hand
I
kid,
love that scene.
and do all this
there's
stuff.
there's a lot of depth
He's
to
bleeding. What are you-
like his
Correct.
character in that sense. It wasn't just like Madsen. That guy's a psycho.
Yeah.
One
among
role,
psychos.
I'm a psycho.
But he
played
fucking
it,
crushes
played
it.
it.
Yeah.
Money. Okay, so then flip the script. Go with your least,
Or
I'm sorry, the person who you wanted more
I wanted.
time.
I know he was there in the Mexican standoff, but the older man. I mean, he had the intro scene.
Mr. Blue?
No, the old guy running the whole
Lawrence
operation.
Tierney.
What's his name?
Joe.
I wish Joe just had maybe about 5 to 10 more minutes. Not much, but like 5 more minutes on camera for just a little bit more.
Ryan, do the voice.
Oh, Lawrence Tierney. He's in the bedroom. Fucking.
He's in the bedroom.
I pick. You don't pick the names. I pick.
Everyone's Mr.
Everybody
Black.
would be Mr. Black.
I got to Mr. Black for another job.
Okay, Joe. Okay, that's an interesting one. I would have never guessed that one.
I think I think that to have him maybe create a little, or maybe fill in some plot holes a little bit. Not plot holes, but fill in a few gaps. Would have been a nice add-on. But
he could have. I mean, he definitely could have come back to the safe house at an earlier moment. They could have worked him in there.
Right. That's what I'm
with more
saying.
dialogue,
Like something like that. Yeah.
Okay, Ryan.
That's tough. Everybody, I think, gets a good amount of time. I mean, I'm always a fan. I could definitely. You couldn't go wrong with more Buscemi. But
Yeah, the Buscemi train. I love it.
I would say that. I like your answer of more Lawrence Tierney. I thought, or Chris Penn. I would say one of those guys probably, because the other guys get a good amount of time on screen. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would have liked to see Mr. Blue.
Oh, you want to see
Mr. Blue, Edward
Mr. Blue,
Bunker.
yeah.
Mr. Blue who loves Borderline from Madonna?
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's a great quote in the beginning.
Yeah, Mr.
I,
Blue.
I like
he was funny.
I like True Blue.
Right. So, I mean, Edward Bunker, they cut a lot of his scenes because the movie was a indie film and basically had no budget. Actors, I saw this, like actors brought some of their own clothes, suits that they got. The 5 robbers were free through a design company. They shot the film in 35 days, so it was a quick job. They had to cut a lot of his scenes, which is unfortunate. But I will say, with Tarantino, I think he would have developed a badass backstory or him involved in some way where he was shooting somebody as well, or he had his own side mission to.
That would be kind of cool to see Mr.
Diamonds.
Blue like that, yeah, or some capacity.
It's just a weird thing to be like, hey, here's 5 robbers, and one is just pretty much omitted from the film after the first scene. You don't hear from
Mr.
him.
Brown and Mr. Blue, pretty much.
We don't even know until the end, till Joe comes in. He's like, Mr. Blue's dead.
Yeah. So that was just the one thing that I'm like, we could have used a little bit more of that. And Chris Penn also I'll give a shout out to for sure.
Larry, stop pointing that fucking gun at my dad.
Dude, are we going into lines? Could we do
Sorry,
favorite
I
one-liners?
was just getting out of hand.
Let's
here.
hit it with quotes because I got only 2.
I got mine right out of the gate. You already know this. I don't believe in tipping.
I got a similar thing that says I don't.
Mr. Pink at the cafe. I don't
Yeah.
believe it.
He goes, I don't tip. I don't believe in it. Yeah.
We're talking quotes you said or scenes? Sorry.
Quotes.
Okay. Definitely. You gonna bark all day, little doggy, or you gonna bite?
Oh man,
Yeah.
I've been transported.
Michael Madsen, when he gives those lines, is that I don't give a fuck attitude is so goddamn
Also,
good.
underrated one I love. I think it's hilarious. After Harvey Keitel's talking to Tim Roth about how to he's like, oh yeah, he's like, if you get a manager who wants to show you what's up, you just gotta bust him in the nose with the butt of the gun or whatever. And he's talking about that shit. And then he's like, all right, let's go get a taco. He just says, let's get a taco. I fucking love that. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
they bonded. Those 2 guys, orange and white, bonded for sure. And I also got the other one, special. What's special? Take you in the back and suck your dick when they're talking about like Winnie would actually tip. It's like.
Yeah, and what was the other one? He's like, Harvey Keitel said it. Hold on, I have it right here. My notes.
Oh my.
That's your new nickname, Mr. Notes.
You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
I love it.
Fun trivia thing, thanks to Amazon, sponsor us.
We'd love
so that quote is actually in an Edward Bunker film, Mr. Blue.
Oh, shit.
So it's an homage to him.
Oh, that's a fun tie.
That's a great line.
It's in Dillinger. He was John Dillinger in the initial.
Yes, the original. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's cool. This is again why I wanted to see this fucking Mr. Blue give him because like he could have been an old badass.
One quote that obviously ties together. I think the climax of the movie is. So that's the story you're telling me. I like that quote by itself because he rambles off everything, and that's the story you're going to tell me.
Yeah.
Like clearly, I think in that point, Mr. Orange, and Mr. White are fucked in my eyes. Both of them right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about favorite scenes. So I will start. I mean, the slow mo coming out of it to "Green Little Bag" is the name of the song, right? Yeah, I mean that was.
Little green.
I
bag.
do remember that. I probably saw this a couple times with my brothers, like earlier when I was maybe like 10 or 11. Probably shouldn't have seen it. But like I definitely remember that scene of the slow-mo walking out. I was like, this is dope. I also have a shout out of when Tim Roth, Mr. Orange, is practicing his lines. They shoot it at a stage in a park
The commode story.
that is full of graffiti. And it's like a 2-second blip, but I was like, holy shit, this is pretty dope.
The one on the one they're on the roof.
They're on the
They go
roof.
to the roof, then they go to
Okay,
Like
then-
a park with
okay.
a stage,
And
but
then-
again, it's very
And
quick.
then it eventually goes into him telling him the story at the bar, and then him transporting himself into the story in the bathroom. It's really cool. It's a good choice.
Right. Okay. Ryan, hit us with it.
I love the opening scene at breakfast. Them talking about
Oh yeah.
the Madonna like a virgin discussion. Is like, it's like she's got, she's having sex with a guy with a really huge dick, and it's like she's never had, like, the first time again. Apparently, Madonna wrote Quentin Tarantino and said, it's not about dick, Quentin, it's about love.
Yeah, there was a little controversy after this film came out between that.
Yeah, and then, like you said, Buscemi talks about, I don't tip, and then Harvey Keitel is like the stats on, like, he's like, waitressing is the #1 job for out of college women 25 to 35 or whatever. He fucking.
It's a fun scene that I like I said, it's maybe not my favorite because the intro is my favorite, but I like the banter that they were just going back and forth in the car about different actresses at the time, and
yeah.
like kind of back and forth with Mr. White and Mr. Orange. I kind of like that. It was just, I think it added that, like, I could see myself in this type of conversation in her.
Of
Right.
course,
Normal dialogue conversations, as you said before.
Of course, it'd be reminisce, not to mention the Mr. Blonde torture scene.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
The obvious one, but
Cut off his ear with the freaking single.
cuts it off his ear, and he's doing the dancing the Steelers wheel, and he puts the gasoline on him.
Yeah.
Which probably burns so bad. And then out of nowhere, spoiler again, Tim Roth shoots him. That was crazy. The first time I saw that, I did not expect that. Oh shit! Like,
That was a jump moment.
I did call that.
and
for sure.
I love the cop in there. He's like, I'm fucking deformed. Look at me. I'm a fucking freak. Whatever. And then Tim Roth's like, I'm dying here. I'm fucking dying.
You know what? I really didn't like, and here's me giving shit about a guy who's like nearing his end. I didn't like how high pitched and whiny he got.
I was gonna put that
Tim
as well.
Roth?
His death, or he, again,
he does that. Like,
all of that shit was the fucking worst, man. Pick a different type of voice. Like everything else about the movie, I love. That was one of the only things that I just was like, why did you choose to do this? Like, you'd have no idea how it feels to get shot in the gut, but I'm just thinking, I don't think I would be a whiny bitch, like, and like foaming at the mouth.
But it started in the scene, like where he's in the back seat curled up.
Love that.
No, so like that initiated that. You call it that fight or flight syndrome, and clearly that guy was flight.
Well, they say being gut shot's like one of the worst things that ever happened.
I totally get it. I'm just saying that it's just an odd choice when everything else about Tarantino's movies is like so particular.
Here's what I would probably say.
Right. No, let's
Okay.
hear it.
He probably did that because otherwise he has to act. Like otherwise the whole movie is just laying on the ground the whole time. He has to bring something.
I get that,
you
but
get to-
again, that's
Okay, to compare things real quick, if we're gonna go on that, Goodwill Hunting or not Goodwill Hunting.
I'm not inside your brain. So
I know,
don't
right?
know.
No, it is.
Don't know what you're thinking.
Saving Private Ryan, right?
Okay.
And you have the general, what's his name?
Tom Hanks.
He got shot a bunch, but you didn't see him crying or complaining about it.
Yeah,
he was
but
dying.
That's not what I mean. I mean
No, but I'm just saying, like, there's different scenarios where you could take, pretty much a mortal wound and, accept it and maybe,
Well, I think he's trying to emphasize how much in pain he is, and like he's trying to bring something to the movie, like, oh shit, like.
No, I could respect that. I just those S's and just the high uppity screech.
It's just a choice that I was just like, I could definitely do without this. You could have done something else. I agree with you, Ryan. You do want to try and act in that
because otherwise,
moment, but you have to do something that's, again, like, to me, that almost took me out of it, of like, this isn't believable unless this guy literally is like the biggest pussy of all
See,
time.
I didn't think so. I mean, did you see the pile of blood he was on?
The
Like,
amount of blood he lost, he would be dead. Just so we're clear, the amount of blood surrounding his body and pooling it, there's no way he's staying conscious.
I imagine it hurts worse than anything ever.
I totally get that, but again, man, if I'm in that
I
mindset,
disagree with
okay, if I get transported into, you get shot in the gut, like same situation, shot in the gut, you're on a heist, you know you can't go to the fucking hospital because they'll ask questions.
He did try
I'm
to get out,
going to accept it as I am going to die. And that's where I would have liked that choice to go of like, hey, I'm going to die, so I'm going to go out like a fucking G and be like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. This is...
All right, no, here we go. No.
In his case, he can go to the hospital. He's undercover cop. He'll be fine.
I'm going to almost guarantee here that the amount of convincing that they needed to do, though, as you saw in the movie, he goes, hey, just take me to the hospital, drop it off.
Well,
he's pleading for it.
Yeah, if they would have, I'm just saying, like, then they would have taken him in.
Can I have a hot take after this, though, real quick? Finish your
Oh,
thought.
I was like, when they would have taken him in, they would have ID'd him, and then they'd been like, oh, he's a cop, and then they would have been fine. Like, I don't think anything.
I just don't think that the timing would have worked out for him to actually get to the hospital.
I think had he was not undercover cop because he was somebody who would have gotten in trouble, I 100% agree with you.
Okay.
I think
Fair
there,
point. Fair
no,
point.
I think there was a 180 in his character that took him from undercover cop to murderer. That when the moment he shot that woman who pulled a gun on him
Oh, yeah.
and executed her, even if he is undercover, there's no way you don't walk away from that without getting charged.
Sure.
You robbed a vehicle and you shot someone dead. I get it. It's in self-defense because she pulled a gun on him. But I think for me, I think his character did a 180 at that point.
He didn't feel good about it. You could
I know he didn't feel good about it, but I think he finally realized, now I'm a criminal. Like, kind of had that in his eyes, like, holy shit, like, I joined the other side.
I think he would have been okay because she shot him first, but he didn't feel good about it either way. I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying, for his character, I think that's where it was the turning point for him. That's all.
Okay.
I definitely agree that it's his turning point into him being all for himself. You don't think that he would have clearly thrown Mr. White under the bus if they said
that's his job.
no? But I'm saying if they said, "Hey, what went down?" They said that you robbed and shot this lady. You wouldn't think that if Mr. Orange survived that, it's talking with DEA or whoever, internal affairs, he wouldn't have said Mr. White shot her.
I imagine he would have said Mr. Blonde or whatever, and then, or you saying Mr. White shot the lady in the car?
Yeah, he would have
He
thrown
could've
him
flipped.
under the
You
bus.
could have blamed that on Mr.
All right.
You could have blamed that on Mr. Brown.
Mr. White, no, when he took out those police officers around the corner, remember, as they turned the corner, he unloaded, pulled out both his guns. That was a real cool scene, just fucking unloaded both of his pistols into them. You're not telling me if I'm Mr. Orange, I would just bail from there. If he sees Mr. Orange running, no offense, like, guess what? Things have gone to
But
shit.
you're also saying that that's before the turn. He's a cop up until
No,
that
I
point
get
that he
but
gets shot.
even as
pretty
a
much.
professional criminal, that happens. He just executes two police officers. Their car just got crashed. It's not crazy to think of, oh, he's bailing, just trying to get himself out of the situation. I'm saying he had the ability to, within the scene, to get himself to somewhat safety and get himself out of the situation.
That's
He
true.
decided not to.
Mr. White already did just blast two cops in the car, so
I
either,
get
either
that.
way, he's fucked anyway.
No, but wouldn't you agree that in that type of scenario, just bolting or just like, shit's crazy, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not saying Mr. White would execute him or
Well, I think
I'm
so.
saying there was an out. I'm saying he
We're
had multiple
all-
outs.
I think
Okay.
their whole thing is like they're professionals. They have a plan.
But Mr. Orange didn't have to be after the heist went south. He didn't have to be a criminal, in disguise. I'm saying he easily could have just bailed, found himself, somewhere safe, and just flashed his badge to a police officer saying, "Hey, I'm undercover. I got." I'm
He
just
doesn't
saying,
have a badge. They would have to take him in.
bullshit. I guarantee he had it on him.
what I
That would be I'm just saying, Bobby. That would be the dumbest thing of all time to bring your badge on a heist when you're undercover doing a diamond heist.
How
That is-
often do you think you're gonna get strip searched? I'm saying it was on his person. Not,
What happens if you fall down out of your chair and your badge
Okay,
falls
but
out?
I'm
What
just
the
saying
fuck?
he chose to be a criminal after the heist went south. That's all. I'm
Right.
saying.
I'm agreeing
Yeah.
with you on that, but then you're talking about why don't you bail before that? It's because he's still a cop. He's still trying to get the evidence.
What more do you really need?
You need to catch the guys.
they're waiting for Joe to get to the building.
They knew where the drop site was.
Diamonds,
I think
bad guys.
I think he wanted the.
Case closed.
They probably wanted the guy on the inside for the confirmation of that shit, just to make sure like everything was.
Okay, but I'm just saying, for me,
Case closed. Yeah, like you said.
once bodies start dropping, guess what? That my involvement on, I'm sorry, my life, I
Okay.
value it.
The lady shot him. Shouldn't have
That's-
shot him.
No, I'm
That's-
saying after the heist went south, that's all you needed. That's all the evidence you did need, because all you had to do is go up on the stand and be like, yep, these are the guys that are involved in it.
Again, absolutely fine, Bobby, but just say that to begin with, that is your prerogative of
That's
how
my
you would go.
prerogative.
Because again,
But I'm
you-
just saying he had outs.
you were just saying like, oh, he could have ran away, and I'm like, yes, he could have, but that contradicts the point that you just made before.
I
that he
think
was
the whole
still a
point
cop.
too was he was with them to make sure they went to the warehouse, to make sure that
Yeah.
Joe was coming to the
Oh,
warehouse.
so waiting for the big fish. Okay, or like
That was
'cause-
what they said. They said nothing happens till Joe
gets.
comes.
Okay, so all right, maybe I'll reel it in a little
And
bit.
then when he was talking to the cop, when he's like, after he shot Michael Madsen, he's like, I'm Freddie, whatever. He's like, I know, we met you 5 months ago. And he's like, what's going on? He's like, don't worry, they're parked 2 blocks away. They're waiting for Joe to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, that's actually a good element. Maybe he needed to be there to finger the.
Because he's the boss, so they're waiting
Yeah.
for the big fish.
I get that. Okay, sorry.
That's what I would say.
I'm just saying he had the ability to, and no one would give him shit if he's like, hey, you know what? Things went horrible. I'm not going to stay on task.
That
for
whole
this.
shit with the carjacking the lady and her pulling a gun out was obviously not expected.
Right. Okay, sorry. We went
No,
down that
it's
rabbit
cool.
hole a
It's-
little bit.
That's okay.
With this movie, it's absolutely fun because there can be 1,000 rabbit holes to go in.
I think that's a good part about the movie. You know?
So with that, I do want to kind of just ask about this movie is presented to you in out of chronological order.
yeah.
So I do
No, it's in chronological order.
the scenes. No, they
well, it flips
flash-
around sometimes to the other. It goes back to.
You don't think it is? Because I think throughout of it, flipping scenes, but still staying in chronological order? No?
No.
Okay, you can't do that. I'm saying you either flip back to when they met, which is what they did,
Yeah.
and they're also
Sorry, you're right. Sorry, but I was thinking maybe post robbery, everything was chronological.
probably post robbery. Yeah, but the
The-
first part of the movie is flipping.
I think any time they're in the suits, the robbery things, those might be in order. But then they have the side, like the Mr. White thing, the Mr.
Okay,
Blonde.
you're right. You're right. Sorry, I
Right,
was thinking
so
of post
Story.
robbery.
I'm not saying like there are some movies that literally is traveling from point A to B to C.
No,
This goes, hey,
This
We're-
goes all over the place.
hey,
early,
how you
yeah.
met this person, how you met this guy, how you met, okay,
Right, yeah,
this, how you
because
set
They
up.
go, yeah, his involvement, yeah, that was jumping around too.
Right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
in that non-sequential kind of order for at least part of the movie, what do you guys think of that? Like I'm usually a pretty big fan of that just because it does keep you kind of on your toes, and it also makes you kind of need to watch the movie. Like I'm a guy who like I like to sit down and like watch a movie and intently know exactly what's going on. Some people I know are like flip on a movie and then just like go and do some other stuff. They go back to that's cool.
No, I'm
But
invested.
this type of movie, you really have. If you jump in 25 minutes in,
You're
you're
not
gonna be
getting the
like,
whole
I'm
picture.
missing something. There's
Yeah.
something off, or I don't know how.
I
this
wish there was
guy
a
knows
director's
this.
cut. I would love to see like 30 or 40 additional minutes to this.
So
I
in
think
in the reverse of just real quick, Ryan's take on 2001: A Space Odyssey could have shortened it down. I easily could have seen Reservoir Dogs kind of bumped up.
yeah,
at
I
20,
can see
30
another
minutes.
20, 30 minutes.
I wouldn't mind it. I think that the way that the pacing and the length of the movie is to its strengths as well, though.
That's a
It,
good point.
it doesn't stay too long. It's quick moving.
I
It's-
like that.
It's always like, you're never bored. It's always like, okay, you're going from here to here. And then you're getting more depth of this character, more background of this character. You go
You're right.
to
It plays to his strengths.
You
To,
get the
to
great-
extend something out, it
the
might
great
pull away from
dialogue
it.
and the mystery. And then once you know that, then you get the Tim Roth background and everything kind of ties together. By
I
the
like
end.
that. Good counterpoint. Love it.
Thanks.
I wish I could see some additional scenes,
Okay.
but you're right. To his strength, that's why this is such an iconic.
Well, it's
movie.
why you can rewatch it so often, too, because it's not even
Mm-hmm.
that long. It's like, it's an hour and 39 minutes. It's like an hour and 35 probably.
Yeah.
Right. And I would just say that the again, as you kind of referenced there, the commode story and the way that they shot that is something that it's something that took place prior to the actual robbery, and that is also something though that the way in which they shot it, different scenes. I think Ryan, you actually mentioned this just a little bit ago, that he did get better, more flowing rhythm throughout each practice of it. And then finally, when he's telling it at the bar, supplants him right into it. He's
Yeah.
talking face to face with the cops, telling the stories to the guys. That's one of the scenes that I'm like, oh shit, I don't think I've ever seen that
Yeah.
in a movie
The-
to that
that
point.
transition.
It starts off with his partner telling him this is a story you got to memorize. He's like, this is bullshit. I got to memorize this? What the fuck?
No, the devil's in the details.
Yeah,
If you're a bad
right.
liar, you don't know descriptive details about any of your scene. If you're going to be a great liar, know the story, create this person, but like don't leave loose ends. But you need to know their involvement, how everything about it. Be a good liar.
Was like Ocean's 11. He says you need to be memorable enough for them to like you, but forgettable enough for them not to remember you afterwards or whatever.
Yeah, good point though. But like you said, a good liar will be descriptive, act like like the George Costanza.
Yeah.
It's not a lie
if you believe it.
Yeah, that is a weird thing that the attention to detail and all this stuff that Mr. Orange went into. I mean, I don't really see it though. I would have liked to seen, if you're not going to show the robbery actual scene where the gunfight kind of starts off, I would have liked to seen kind of the lead up, which like you're mentioning like Ocean's 11 where they like kick into that dong ding ba-dum, and they're like getting ready to do something. Yeah. I would have liked to seen that. And then if he like cut it right after that, and then they go to after scene, I think
you're saying like a musical, like call it a 2-minute musical, because like you said, they have some different songs that are iconic, but I use that word way too much. But they have some songs that are just it really pulls in different types of feeling or mood. But that'd be kind of a fast shifting scene of everyone kind of getting into place, doing their thing, but
like
having
getting into the cars, right? And be like,
yeah.
all right, Mr. Blue's over here, okay. And then as soon as
like
they
no
pull
dialogue,
up,
just straight music.
But then as soon as they pull up, then you cut back to something else or do whatever. I would have appreciated that more than kind of where we picked it up.
A cool thing could have been too if when they were going into like this, like the Mr. White, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Pink, whatever. Besides showing their background with certain elements of the story, showing from their perspective of the robbery, what happened.
Yeah.
Piecing everything together through everybody's view by the end of the movie and seeing what actually happened. That could have been cool too.
Are you talking about like a point of view?
Yeah,
like where the camera would operate like their eyes in a.
Just like what he recalls, like different things. Like he remembered he was.
Mr. Pink goes into it a little bit though. He does. Give his
but
take.
I'm saying it'd be cool if they actually showed it from like their
like the point of view, like the camera work or something like that.
Right. And
and you really only got perspectives though, just in general of
2.5.
Well, you get the afterwards of Mr. Pink running away from the cops.
No, but I'm even just saying when they're describing like what happened. Mr. Blonde never says, "Oh, this is what happened."
He gave you a little detail.
They said, all the cops came when Mr. Blonde started popping everybody off, and then Mr. White does the whole bang, bang, bang.
Dude,
bang.
yeah, those two going at it was, dude, I could feel the tension, and I'm sitting there watching it on a TV.
And then Mr. Blonde is like, "Yeah, I shot him." He's like, "They pulled the alarm. I told them not to. They deserve what they got," or whatever.
Right. It's just like a one sentence thing. But again, I agree with you that a little bit more.
I always love seeing heist shit, so I'm pro heist.
But that's weird. It's like morality among criminals.
But it does make the movie a little unique and have a different angle or appeal of it that you're not getting what actually happened. You're just getting them talking about it, and it is still entertaining for them talking about it. Credit to the movie, to the dialogue and to the story.
So keeping kind of in the same theme, what other kind of Nicky Pitts?
Okay, definitely. I highly doubt, or at least they shouldn't have all met in public for breakfast together in their robbery outfits before the robbery.
Yeah, probably
it's
good
kind
idea.
of ridiculous. I mean, like you could have a scene them together, but not in public. Like maybe they're at Joe's house or something. If you want to do that,
but they're in suits. Who gives a shit?
But
Suits aren't memorable.
But they were like, there were these guys that robbed the bank or the jewelry store in suits. So there were 5 of them, and they all were here. And this is kind of
especially when you got to the news after, they'd say, "Hey, 5 men in suits."
Also, if they're taking so much precaution to not know each other's names and things, you would think you would take that precaution not to meet in public together the day of the robbery all together. I mean, it's.
Do you know for sure it's the day of the robbery?
Oh yeah, they're going from there to the for sure.
Oh, okay.
Like it's not like a big thing. I don't care, but I'm just saying realistically, probably wouldn't do that. Also, the end, the Mexican standoff, how does Harvey Keitel shoot both of them while he's getting shot? I don't know. I mean,
Chris Penn shoots Mr. White. Mr. White shoots.
Joe shoots
Mr. Orange.
Then then Mr. White shoots him, and then Chris Penn shoots Mr. White, and then Mr. White also somehow shoots. Chris Penn.
He gets winged or he gets hit, but he turns and takes
I
out
don't know.
Chris
It's very
Penn.
difficult to do, I would think. And
also, the guns that Keitel used was the Smith & Wesson 639.
I have no idea.
I have a Smith & Wesson.
Sounds
love
good.
it, so I get
No,
it.
that's what they use. It's a cool looking gun. Yeah. Just shout out that.
Sponsor us, Smith & Wesson.
I was gonna say too that they had too many cars in the parking lot, but they already talked about it in the movie. Like,
right,
we gotta get these cars out of here because it literally is like no parking on the doors.
And there's like 4.
There's like 4 cars there. Yeah, one with a cop in the trunk at the time.
I'll just say this I know that they're waiting for Joe, but to some extent, there was a way for Mr. I guess this goes all the way to the end of the movie. Mr. Pink could have got out of there scot-free.
Oh, for sure.
I feel bad because, for the longest time, he said he didn't feel right. This isn't professional. He's like, we've already got too much heat on us. Like, everything about him was screaming like, all right, time to pack up our shit and we'll meet up once the heat cools off.
I'm thinking that, that's good, but maybe Mr. White's thinking like he trusts Joe. They've worked together. They're obviously old friends. And plus, even if they do have the diamonds, they need Joe to sell them, to move them.
Yeah.
So, and if you go against a guy like Joe, I'm assuming you're gonna have problems. He's gonna come after you. So maybe they're like, all right, well, let's just trust it. Or whatever. But they definitely could have Mr. Pink and Mr. White could have gotten away.
I would probably, like I said, given the circumstances of how fucked up this went, but the problem, like you said, to Joe, I probably would have bailed and maybe reached out to him at some certain point to guarantee my safety, to release the product, guarantee my safety, and get paid. But you're right, because at that point, Joe will immediately think if Pink left, Pink was in on it.
Right.
So, like I said, I think he was. I think the sad point is a lot of them. The moment things went south, they were dead on the spot, even though they didn't know it.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of wrapping up the, again, things we could have done a little bit better, added a little bit more is like, and adding more to the movie, just time wise. The scenes with Mr. Blue, as I mentioned before, but
Poor
then,
Mr. Blue.
But then also, I kind of just thought about is like a little bit more background on Joe as the
That'd be cool.
orchestrator of this,
Yeah.
just to kind of see like. Why is he this big guy? Like, oh, the heist of like, oh, you remember
How'd
the
he get
heist
to
of
his
whatever,
spot or something?
because they're operating a front, him and Chris Penn. So that would have been kind of cool to see a little bit more of. I did, Ryan, I want to just see, did you have any other things that we did not specifically mention?
Yeah,
Topics?
I forgot a scene we should have mentioned, which was the scene where they're handing out the names. And
Oh, yeah.
Steve Buscemi hates that he's Mr. Pink. And he's
I could be Mr. Purple.
like, I'm a Mr. No, I pick. Or whatever. Nobody picks. Everybody wants Mr. Black. Nobody gets it. And he's like, well, if it's all the same to you, why don't we just trade? And we're like, you're Mr. White. That sounds kind of cool or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Quentin Tarantino said, like,
Mis-
Mr. Brown, that sounds like Mr. Shit. That scene's fucking great. I love the dialogue in that scene. I thought we should have mentioned that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's a great scene.
And then, sorry, we were talking cinematic shots. I thought the commode story, they're in the bathroom scene, and the whole thing with their, like you said, that down on that stage was cool. And then also when Harvey Keitel's talking to Steve Buscemi, and they're like in the hallway, they're kind of back farther, and they're like in the bathroom.
Yeah, cleaning off.
Talking about like what they should do or who's in on what. But that was also a cool shot.
Yeah, definitely agree. Last thoughts before we go to the grading scale?
No, let's rate it up. Let's put in our votes.
Okay, Bobby, you start with, again, 0 to 10 grading scale.
I'm going to give this one a 9.4.
Okay.
It's actually one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. Like I said, I think there are some elements I wish we could have explored more, but I guess that's to his credit. You want to know more, you want to see more. What a great director for giving you just enough, and then get you hooked. And then I'd own it. I absolutely would own it. I do own it. So.
Okay, I do own it. I would own it. I do own it, and I agree with Bobby's score 9.4. That's a good. It was really good. It's one of his best. I think it's probably I would say third favorite. I feel like I like
everyone likes Pulp Fiction.
Django most. Actually, I like Django, and then Pulp Fiction, and then probably this. Yeah,
Django's so fun too.
I love Django Unchained. So.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a 9.1.
Okay,
probably right around there. Same thing. Not my most favorite Quentin movie, but I would say though that it is definitely again one of his earlier films. No, later, right?
His
no,
first movie.
No, because when was
that was his
Pulp Fiction?
94.
That was after.
Pulp Fiction was right after.
Pulp Fiction
okay.
was huge because people went back to see Reservoir Dogs after Pulp Fiction. A lot of people.
Okay, I thought for some reason that Pulp Fiction was before.
And they're in the
80s.
same universe. That's something worth noting.
Oh yeah,
the Vega brothers.
The Vega brothers. Yeah, Michael Madsen's Vic Vega and John Travolta's Vincent Vega.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to do a Vega brothers movie, but didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of glad that they did.
So they got too old for it.
Yeah,
at
which
at
again,
this stage it is.
that is a perfect thing, though. Again, before I give my final streaming rent and own it, whatever thing, that is something though that I do really appreciate. If it doesn't work out, don't force it. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a sequel of Pulp Fiction 2. I know Tarantino will never do sequels because he's a fucking G at that stuff. But I just hate that, like, Hollywood will sometimes just be like, nah, let's throw him in anyway. It's like, it doesn't work.
He's not about the money grab. He really isn't.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, I appreciate that it's not just like, we're going to need to do this because...
He force a
Right.
sequel.
He's one of the last like pure filmmakers. Like he
Fingers,
He directs it, he writes it, he oversees it. Like it's his baby. And, like everything he's made.
I respect the shit out of him
everybody's
as an
loved,
artist.
to degrees of different levels, but I don't think he's made a bad movie.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. My last thing is, again, I own it as well. It's, again, as one of...
Go see it. Go watch it again.
One of some good movies that we've reviewed here. We've reviewed all great ones. We all love them the same.
Who's next on the docket? Is it Ryan?
That would
Me.
flip back to
Oh.
Ryan. If you got one, throw it out.
Wanna
But
tease
also just keep in mind that we might not necessarily do it the next week. Fans, you'll have to tune in.
Keep tuning in.
Eventually, we may do it 2 weeks from now. But if you don't have it,
No, I think I got it.
okay, hit us with it.
I think I'm gonna do one of my favorites. I'm gonna do the movie Blow. Starring Johnny Depp.
God damn it,
love
that's
it.
a great
Penelope
one.
Cruz too.
My favorite
Oh
Johnny
my-
Depp movie. One of my favorite movies.
Interesting.
It's great,
Okay.
Great movie.
So tune in
Blow.
for
Excellent.
that. Whenever, again, we will definitely tease it in whatever episode, beforehand so that Blow is coming. But
Ray
I mean,
Liotta's
again,
in
this
it,
was
too.
this was a fun little foray that we have done and into the Journeymen chapter where we're just the Journeymen
The
now.
Journeyman, yeah.
No longer
Or
fantasy
could
football.
be the Journeyman, a soft J.
Soft.
I don't
Could
know.
be a soft J. I love
We went
it.
yogging. Or
Yogging.
Or the Journeyman.
we got
Yeah.
cocktail hour up soon. We got.
So
That's
we
next,
have
isn't
the cocktail hour will be supplanted maybe at the beginning here, maybe at the end here. Who knows? But
Who knows?
we'll figure it out in the editing bay.
Come on, have yourself a cocktail.
But yeah, we got the Bobby and Woj cocktail and Ryan's
Ryan hopped in.
Special segment for me.
Cocktail.
Yeah.
It's not the,
Whoa, it's a
Yeah.
cocktail.
Whoa, easy now.
Yeah.
It's perfected over
Fine
millennia.
establishments.
It's all right. You'll have to tune in whenever we put that in. If we put it in at the end, who knows?
He's like, and now we're cutting it.
No, but for the Journeyman, I am Sir Wojenstein.
I am Ryan.
That's Bobby.
And we will talk to y'all next week.
Hey.
Enjoy your journey.